Our eyes receive light and transform it into neural messages that our brain processes into what we see. Light waves hit the cornea, the protective layer on the outside of the eye, and bends the light to provide focus. The light passes through the pupil, which can shift in size, and the shift in size is controlled by the iris. The iris surrounds the pupil. It's the colored part of the eye, and it's a muscle that dilates and constricts in response to light and even emotions. The lens is behind the pupil. It focuses on incoming light and projects it onto the retina. Accommodation is the process where the eye's lens changes and bends to focus near objects or far objects on the retina. If the lens focuses on an image at a point in front of the retina, you can see near objects more clearly. This is nearsightedness or myopia. If the lens focuses the image on a point behind the retina, this causes farsightedness, or seeing distant objects clearer than near ones. The retina is the most important part of the eye. It's made up of several cell layers that the light must pass through to be transformed into a mental image. The bipolar cells connect and transmit information from the photoreceptors, cones and rods, to the ganglion cells to make up the optic nerve. The cones are photoreceptors in the retina that detect fine detail and color in daylight or bright light. They are clustered in the fovea, a small depression near the center of the retina. Each cone transmits information to a single bipolar cell that helps relay the cone's individual message to the visual cortex. This singular connection is what allows the messages to be highly detailed. There are approximately 6 million cones per retina.
Rods are photoreceptors in the retina that enable black and white vision. They detect black, white, and gray. They are not in the fovea. Located mostly in the outer parts of the retina. Rods are necessary for peripheral and twilight vision. Unlike cones, rods shape bipolar cells with other rods, sending combined messages to the cortex and resulting in less detail. There are approximately 120 million per retina. The optic nerve contains bundled axons and ganglion cells that connect the retina to the brain. The blind spot is the point where the optic nerve leaves the eye. This causes a blind spot because there are no receptors located in this area. The brain corrects this automatically, so generally we are not aware of the blind spot in the middle of our field of vision. The optic chasm is the point where the optic nerve fibers from each eye cross over each other in the brain. The visual information from the right halves of the two retinas is transmitted to the left side of the occipital lobe for processing and vice versa. The thalamus receives most sensory information, except smell, first before it is routed to other parts of the brain for processing. The visual cortex is located in the occipital lobe. Most information travels to the primary visual cortex where it is processed, then rerouted to other visual areas for further analysis. Feature detectors are cortical neurons in the brain that respond to specific features of stimulus, such as shape, angle, or movement. Trichromatic theory states that the retina contains 3 different color receptors, one most sensitive to red, one to green, and one to blue, which when stimulated in combination can produce the perception of any color. Dichromatism or monochromatism means that you're lacking the functioning of red or green sensitive cones, sometimes both. This causes monochromatic one-color vision or dichromatic two-color vision instead of trichromatic. This makes it impossible to distinguish red and green. The opponent process theory states that opposing retinal processes, red-green, blue-yellow, white-black, enable color vision.